Well, I'm joined by the Minister of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu. Good to see you and thanks for your time.
Thank
well,
you.
I think somehow some kind of relief, but again, let's backtrack and see how this is coming. The Minister did say this is the statute, that's the law. Take us through and why now this is being talked about after so many years of not following the law.
Well, thank you very much for having me once more. You see, sometimes one used to be surprised. Today's meeting was almost a stretch for almost 78 hours. And so many policy issues were discussed that has to do with admission. But only one that took interest by all Nigerians is the age of admission.
What does that tell you?
You understand? It shows that really Nigerians are worried. And we need to also come. That's why I have to quickly, when I was called to come, so that we can clarify issues. Yes, the minister did say that. And then that's also another advantage or disadvantage of social media. Because had it been it wasn't reported on social media, the outcome of the overall meeting will have reversed the decision. And there isn't be any need for people to have anxiety over the age. Now, if you look at the national policy of education, it says the age of entry at primary school level is supposed to be at age of 6 years. And then you are expected to be in primary for 6 years, making it 12, secondary school for another 6 years, making it 18. You understand? So that's actually what is there as implied. So there was also observation that education is a key to development, and it requires, especially the tertiary level of education, a sense of maturity to be able to handle yourself. And also of recent, we have been so much inundated by a lot of calls from countries that peg their age of admission at 18. Writing for clarification to the ministry, writing for clarification to the JAM, especially for those who want to go for their postgraduate distance. So this has become a serious concern. Now, the issue has been muted several times, and we are also discussing. So when it was mentioned, generally the policy stakeholders meeting, and it's very important, this is an annual event. After each and every JAM examination result is released, before the admission, the policy team will meet, which comprise the Federal Minister of Education, the members of the National Assembly, the Committee of Vice Chancellors, represented by Vice Chancellors and Registrars, Rectors and Registrars of Polytechnic, Provosts and Registrars of Medicine, so that we can define, we'll come together, look at it critically, and then agree on a baseline level, so that each and every student aspiring to go for tertiary education will be given equal leveling ground. And that's why I said so many things were discussed.
You know, Dr. Sununu, one must give first credit to the ministry for that quick reversal, because it shows that in that hall, you all were listening to the people. Because what would have happened is a lot of people already were about to get into the tertiary institutions, having written JAM just recently. So if that had taken off, that would have deprived them. So if this is going to take off in the next 1 year, what are those things the ministry, in conjunction with JAM, you've been able to put in place to pretty much sensitize other schools and as well as parents who are also preparing to take the next examination? Okay,
but see, what I would just say, the credit you are given to the ministry will actually go to the president. Mr. President has shown that in his regime, it's a listening regime. For example, when the outcry came for the so many restrictiveness of the student loan fund, Mr. President has to submit it back to the National Assembly.
I don't think the president will be. I don't think the president will be angry if you're taking the credit. This happened
I agree,
and it was spontaneous. So the credit is to the ministry
because we are listening.
Yes,
we are listening because we have a leader who also listens.
Good.
So we have to follow suit of our leader. You understand? So what we are asking now, what we said is that's a decision, and I've mentioned This setting aside gave us a lot of rooms to go back and look at the policy document to see how we can strategize in the next 1 year. Because Nigeria is evolving. Education is also so dynamic and it's not going to be static even in Nigeria. So that 1 year will afford us another room prior to the next JAM examination, so that we can now set the rules to either go by that or based on another policy if we happen to have, because we also have National Council of Education, which is a major key for
and again, Dr. Sununu, keep in mind that's also what they call the first cause in philosophy. So that there must be a basis for getting people who are less than 18 leaving school. So the entry level, is it something that the ministry is also looking at? The
entry level is what we are looking at. I tell you, this is not the first time that policies that such is being muted or uttered by the ministry. You understand? But you see, this is why it comes today so prominent, is because today we are discussing criteria that we are going to use to qualify candidates for admission into various institutions of tertiary education. And that's, it's not only restricted to the university. And I mentioned a lot of issues that were discussed, which also is good to parents to know.
I'll let you come with the issues.
Yes.
But just let me throw this in, because some of the key concerns, what we found out is that most of these are actually coming from the privately owned institutions. Is the ministry, dropping the ball when it comes to entry level in some of these privately owned institutions, primary as well as secondary?
No, you see, the Ministry of Education is holistic in its terms of approach. But however, even at these meetings today, there are so many issues that are restricted to the private institutions. But on the ground that they must make it clear at the point of advertising their vacancies for admission. You understand? For instance, we have even faith-based university, which is based on faith either as an Islamic or as a Christian. Now, there are complaints that after admission, students may be forced to do one aspect of religion or the other. You understand? And right now, even, there are a lot of cases in court. But you see, the policy says you can restrict your distance, but you must make it clear that, look, do you know that if you are admitted in this university, every Friday you must go to mosques, or every Sunday you must go to church? Now, candidates are allowed to make their choice. If you agree with that, that's good. But if you didn't make your declaration, that this is your stand, you cannot change the rule after admitting candidates. So there are so many things that were discussed. That's why I said, you see, sometimes one used to wonder, are we really, why do we single out one item out of over 100 that were discussed? They have a wider implication even.
Dr. Sununu, that's why they call it the crux of the matter. You have a potpourri of issues. Yes. One or two definitely will stand out. But let's talk about other issues, because we understand that the ministry has been working so hard to see how it can rejig and revamp the sector and bring us back to winning ways where a lot of people were coming into Nigeria to seek education. So how far have you gone in that move?
Yes, I know sometimes I was in this studio and I made it clear that we have to be grateful that Mr. President knows really that there is issue with access in terms of number of space and also in terms of financial access. And for financial access, Mr. President came up with NEL Fund, which will now provide a soft landing for those who are financially handicapped to continue with their education, because President believes, and which is also right, that the only tool to fight poverty or eradicate it even is education. So that has been addressed. Now, you have fund. What now remains is the access. And we have to believe that Nigeria is one of the countries that have the largest qualified candidate to go for tertiary institution. And we cannot say that we are providing space for all these candidates that need this admission. So in that regard, and also we realize that a lot of foreign exchange and pressure on Naira has to do with conversion to obtain dollar or any other foreign currency for those who are studying outside. And that is also, generally, there is global economic crisis, and that has also further worsened the situation. Now we have to think out of the box. What are the way out? The way out is say, okay, while we are increasing the number of institutions within the country, we should also come up with a concept of transnational education. And what is the basis of that? International Labour Organization classified education as one of the exportable products. And therefore we say, okay, we now develop a policy that campus outside Nigeria can come to either establish campus on their own or go into partnership and collaboration with Nigerian universities. Now they also determine, if you have a campus of your own, the standard you are maintaining in your parent institution must also be the same standard here in Nigeria. Then you award the degrees and certificate of that institution. You now go into collaboration with our institution here, you have the decision to either have a joint certificate or you this thing. And also, that will also further foster a very good relationship in terms of exchange program between their student there and the student here. And that's why also, if you look at the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, clearly state that there is need for stability in academic calendar. Because if we don't have that stability, the issue of collaboration in terms of exchange of students become very, very difficult or even impossible.
Well, it's a good thing that you're here. You've always, well, calm when called to come talk about education.
Thank you.
Tanko Sununu, thank you for your time as always.
Thank you.